I've kind of let my thoughts run roughshod lately. And for the first time in a while, I was just sitting down thinking, the universe, like I actually have these thoughts. I'm actively thinking, the universe is bringing me what I want. The universe is conspiring to give me what I need and to help me right now. The universe is, it's working to make my dreams fulfilled and to bring me satisfaction. And as soon as I thought those things, my body started to feel way better. And then I immediately had the impulse to make a video and talk about it. And I'm like, maybe what I need or what I want is what I give. And that's like a wild contradiction in a sense. It doesn't, it's like, well, if the universe is giving me what I want, what that actually means is what I want is to give you this data, this information. And it's like, of course, they say you get what you give, and that giving is the best feeling on earth. Like providing for someone is like the ultimate, reward. And it is. To be able to be a teacher or a healer or a helper on earth is like the most rewarding and satisfying thing I can think of. You can give me ultimate amounts of cake and sugar and video games and warm sleep. And like, yeah, the temporal stuff is super valuable. Getting a good night's rest in a warm bed. God, I want everyone to be able to experience that. Every human to have access to that at will. But the real like satisfaction in life, because I've spent lots of warm nights in bed, going into bed in that bed depressed and waking up depressed, having still restful, but like because I hadn't been giving, I hadn't been providing. And now I think this kind of thing is, and it's also, it's also like making videos particularly and talking to people is rewarding. Let me make sure this is recording, by the way. I'm using OBS on my new setup where I normally do interviews, and so it's all kind of new tech, but I imagine it's all coming through fine. And it's like a sort of therapy. If you don't make videos, you should. This tech's pretty cheap. We have access to the internet, global video. It's all accessible and easy to do. So do it. It feels really good. And especially if there's people you want to talk to directly, you can make a video and send it to them. And it's pretty simple to like make super high tech connections now. It's really rewarding and inspiring for other people that are coming up and are like, I want to do something with my life. And they see you talking and they're like, well, I can be like you. I can do that too. And a lot of times they do it better than you. And you inspire a whole new generation of actors and movers and shakers that are just better than you were. That's pretty cool. You don't need to own the behavior. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be one of the greats that inspires. I've kind of thought that like it's kind of exciting to be like an unknown that's like, where like all the really successful people on earth know who I am and they've all been inspired by me, but no one really needs to talk about me or like bring me up. I had that kind of fantasy for a while. I was a little egotistical, I guess, because I'm just who I am. And you got to be who you are. And sometimes hiding away and shying away is more egotistical than being your best self publicly, which I always thought was weird because I'm like, oh, if I'm going to go out and talk about how great I am is one thing. But like if I'm going to go out and be great in public and just aggressively be my best as much as possible overtly, like that's ego, man. I need to like chill a little bit and be more humble. But like in reality, not engaging in your best self is egotistical, and it's humiliating to put yourself out there as your best self. A lot of times people think you're ridiculous and they'll make fun of you and they'll be like, that's weird. I'm uncomfortable with that behavior. He's an idiot. That's stupid. I don't understand that. So he's not making any sense. And it's like, it can feel humiliating. That's the humility that comes along with putting yourself out there. And so the real egotism or egoism is like not letting yourself be seen. And it's taken me not only like a decade to figure that out, but like I've got to remind myself of that over time. Because sometimes I'll forget and I'll find myself retracting into just like comfort. And, but man, watching the land around you burn from your comfortable tower is not the way to live. We really need to engage our surroundings and communicate with people and let the world know how we feel and what we think and what our solutions are for some of the problems. Hydrogen fuel, creating a new fuel system. Things like that. It's really important to tell yourself that you're healing and to remind yourself that the universe is conspiring to help you and to give you what you want and to provide you what you need and to make sure that you're satisfied and that the universe is rewarding you and making you better and helping you. I just think of it as the universe. I mean, that's a vague term. I think of it as a bunch of subatomic spinning fluctuations or whatever they are. Some people call it God. Some people call it the ether. I don't know. It doesn't really matter what you call it. But when you realize that it is something and it is helping you and healing you, and then you tell yourself that, I don't think that that's egotistical because it's not me. It's not like I gotta get Ian Crossland so great. Ian Crossland's already great. I already did it with this body. I don't need to like prove it anymore. This body did it. It's good enough. It got what it needed. But if God is healing me or giving me what I need or what I want, and what you want and what you need may be different things. I was almost afraid to say the universe is giving me what I need because that might not always feel good. Sometimes it can be a challenge. The universe will give you a challenge, and it's the challenge that you need. So I'm like, well, I'm almost afraid, but like, no, you got to get what you need. Like, you need what you need. And if that's a challenge, that's a challenge. But the God will provide. The world will provide. If you're willing to receive what you need, you will get what you want. And that is obviously a platitude. It's not a one for one, and it doesn't mean you're going to get every little thing you want on earth, every little piece of stuff. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you're going to be satisfied. I use those words a lot: want, need, and satisfied. There's probably better words, but like being happy is different than being fulfilled. The universe is fulfilling me, is providing me with fulfillment. And these are things to tell yourself. It will transform you instantly. Within moments, you'll realize you'll get an impulse or an inspiration to do something. And that's what you need. That's what will fulfill you. And then through that, I found logically, when I put myself out there, when I provide something awesome, when I just give myself to the world through mediums like this or other venues, making art, bringing someone food, listening to someone, things like that, you'll get messages from people. I mean, this is like a literal translation. People will see your art or they'll see what you've done, and then they'll contact you and offer you things. And so that's if you want to think of the selfish reasoning for doing for others, it comes back to you cyclically. And it's not always like snap of a finger, aha, I got my thing. Sometimes it can be months, weeks, years of somewhat traumatic endeavor, like an exertion, like it's a real workload to put yourself through what the universe needs from you and what you need from the universe. But it almost always, in my experience, returns. And it returns in greater ways because you can give what you can give, but what you can get can give you so much more than what you ever had. So trust the process, have faith that what you give will return, and be kind. I really like the virtues. I'm not much into religion or the Catholic faith or anything, but I've always been fascinated with the Catholic virtues. Not all of them necessarily. Chastity, I get it. I was a hornball growing up. It was like, I need to learn how to fuck. But like, chastity's cool in a way, in that, well, it's not really it's not chastity. It's, is that what it is? It's chastity, lust and chastity. Are those the two? Yeah. Celibacy is one thing. Celibacy is not a virtue. Celibacy is like a thing that they would swear on God or something. But chastity is more like you're just using sex for a purpose. I like that. That's deep within me. It's deep within my soul. There's kindness, temperance, these seven virtues, and patience. I like the virtues a lot. I'm not a religious man, but maybe I'm more religious than I realized. I got it from Crusader Kings 2, the video game. I played a lot of the Catholic faith. I'd always play like a Catholic duke or king. I mean, I wouldn't always. Sometimes I'd play as like a Mongol or something, but I learned a lot about you got to stay on good terms with the Pope if it's 1100 AD and you're like an Italian duke. You know, you don't want to piss the Pope off because he'll have you excommunicated, and then your neighbors will come take your land and be like, he's a demon, and oops, that game over. So you got to stay on the Pope's good graces by extolling virtues for the most part. So it's almost like you're forced to be virtuous but in the same sense, I feel good when I'm virtuous. Diligence, the amount of good that you can do for society and the amount of good that comes back to you when you're diligent. Oh, so be good to yourself. I know that, and you know, I don't want to get too deeply psychological in what good and evil actually is. I had a great talk with Ben Stewart on the last live show I did. It's number 26 that you could check out if you want to hear us go deep on like good and evil and good and bad and how good and God are like similar words, and like what is good, who's defining it in the moment. Good is like what society kind of agrees on is necessary for that moment, is what righteous, what's right, and what's wrong is like, well, that's like what society agrees is what's right and what's wrong in that moment, and how that changes over time. And there's a beautiful argument to be had about like objective right and wrong and objective good and evil and what those even mean, what that even means. But I can't have that conversation with myself here and now without going kind of crazy and taking probably 40 minutes. Well, that was fun. That was a bit of a workout. That was cool. I was actually literally working out just 20 minutes ago or so, lifting some weights, doing those Arnold presses where you're like, and then I did some tricep pulls where I'm pulling down this rope with this weight. That's a good workout too. Okay, good to touch base. Good to speak back to the camera, to you listening. Let me know what you think. If you want to get involved and interactive, we can do it in the comments. You can make a video response. That makes it hyperactive, which is quite enjoyable. I tend to learn by listening. Reading, I can get. Reading's an interesting way to learn, but really listening and seeing, smelling, you know, I'm not going to be able to smell you through the camera, but I'll definitely be able to listen to you and watch your eyes while you talk. That's one thing that's cool about eye contact, is hearing someone's voice is one thing, and you can listen to them and understand what they're saying. And looking in someone's eyes is another thing. But when you can synchronize those things, you can see like what their brain is experiencing while they're saying what they're saying. And it's almost like you can tell if they're lying or not, or like how aligned they are with themselves, what they're saying. Because sometimes people will say things that they think that they think they should believe or that they want to believe, but you can see in their brain, because the eyes are directly attached to the brain. They're like interfaced to this brain stem spine creature that is inside of us. That's basically us pulling on the meat muscles with electrical impulses. And you can see in the brain, when I'm saying the brain, the eyes, I'm going to call the eyes the brain for now because it's like one organism. You can see the alignment of what they say. And if they really believe what they're saying, it becomes apparent in the eyes. I love that. I think that's why video is so groundbreaking, important, but like it's different than just listening on the phone or on a radio or something. Both are powerful technologies, hands down. Hands down. Why do people say hands down? Is that because they're like, oh, I'm saying all this stuff, but hands down, I believe it. Like I don't need to use my hands to accentuate it anymore. Hands down, it's true. So here's hands down to you. Have a nice night or day or wherever you are, and spread your love. Give it to someone else. It's a big part of the season. It's a big part of life, and it's a big part of reward. And thank me later if you want to. See you.